Hi, my name's Jason from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I I want to share my thoughts on Bitcoin, but it's hard to figure out what audience I'm speaking to. So I'll start off pretending I'm speaking to just a regular person that doesn't know that much about it, which is a lot of people. This is a protocol on the internet where people can transfer money directly to each other without any third-party intervention. So it's a currency on the internet that has been running since 2009, non-stop, trading 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has not ever failed. It's the securest network there is. It's been proven to be a very safe store of value for your money because it also only increases your purchasing power out in the real world, because the scarcity of it, which is something we've never had for mankind ever. We can always produce more gold, we can always produce more silver, and we can clearly produce more dollars. We are endlessly printing dollars at this point. It's just over and over a new storyline, a new narrative to make an excuse to print money and keep this system just seemingly to be normal. Well, it is not normal. Bitcoin has been a black hole for money since 2009 because it's the best form of money we have ever had. It's also the best form of money we can ever come up with. It really is a true gift that we get to enjoy for the rest of our lives, because it's not going anywhere. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can shut it down. There is no conspiracy against it. Bitcoin itself is no longer a conspiracy. All of the FUD we've been hearing, it's just gone because it doesn't matter. The more you talk about Bitcoin, the more power it gets. The more you ignore it, the more the price goes up behind your back. The more we deny it, because we heard about it years ago at a cheaper price, and we just want to let it go like any other stock in the world. I understand that, but this isn't a stock. This is a global, peer-to-peer, no intervention from crazy people. Because right now the world is pretty crazy, it's pretty absurd. Nobody can agree on anything. All the changes being made are causing more problems. It looks like a demented circus. And if you want to stay in the demented circus, you're not a Bitcoin owner, you're not a Bitcoin holder, because everything that's not Bitcoin is part of this circus. You're constantly spinning plates, trying to figure out how to preserve your money. If you're lucky enough to have money, people that aren't lucky enough to have money, they start to wonder what the heck's going on. Why isn't this game fair? Why is the price of everything now double what it was just 2 years ago? I was looking for a job 4 years ago, and the best I could do was $13 an hour, and now they're paying $20 an hour everywhere for anything. And that was a skilled job for $13 an hour. But you can't buy anything for $13 an hour, $15 an hour, even $20 an hour. The wage should be, for what we're dealing with, $75 an hour, honestly. The lack of wage increase for the last 20 years, I mean, wage hasn't gone up until recently, because workers are making more money not doing anything. They just get mailed printed money into their accounts, and they feel bad because they're not producing anything and getting this money. But the reality is you're actually losing money, because if they give you $30,000 but they print a certain amount, and the already wealthy people turn that $30,000 into $150,000 or $300,000, while the other people that got the $30,000 had to spend it on bills and other things. So it just kind of disappears, that 30,000, for the majority of people that need it the most. And then they lost 30,000 and the wealthy got 150,000. That's about what's happening here. It's sickening to think about, because the people that are grinding every day can't keep up with things, and it's completely unfair. It's not a game anyone should have to play, but it's a game we had to play before we had a currency that is fair, because there's nobody in control of this currency. It's just a protocol on the internet, and that's it. Anyone's free to use it. You don't have to be a good person. You don't have to be a bad person. Be whatever you want to be. It's all about freedom. That's what freedom is. It's freedom money. It releases you from the bondage of the government confines surrounding the money system, and the way that they're changing the rules to benefit, you know, the people around them, and then the people around those people, and it's this trickle down effect of just a nightmare. And it's a nightmare for them too. They didn't have a choice before Bitcoin, so they had to play the game as it's made, and unfortunately it's a big zero-sum game when somebody is in control of printing all the money. Their friends get rich, and their friends' friends get rich, and then I don't know who these people are. We don't know their story. They don't share it with us. They don't talk honestly with us. It's torturous to try to figure out what the hell's going on in the circus that's not Bitcoin, because everything is manipulated. There is no true price discovery in the fiat world. It's not possible. But what is possible is making money during these weird times, these strange times we're in right now. You can make lots of money because when emotions are high and money's getting printed and money's flowing in all different directions and the storylines are going everywhere, if you can let the dust settle in your own head and comprehend what's actually going on here, who's getting all this money, what's happening to the money, it's going into Bitcoin, plain and simple. Bitcoin is where money goes to rest and sit. And all of this is proven in the metrics on the chain. You can get detailed charts of everything. So one of my resources, I'll pull them up right here. If you want to understand the analytics I'm talking about, just here 10 hours ago, September 9th, Tone Vays is on with Willy Woo. He pulls up chart after chart after chart of where the money's going, who's holding the money. It's leaving exchange, it's going on to hard wallets. He'll go through each and every detail. I mean, that's just the facts. You can see where all of the money's going, you can see where all the Bitcoin's going. I call Bitcoin money because fiat money ain't money anymore. Those are just, what's the price? Because the price is just going to keep going up for everything. The purchasing power of the US dollar is just going to deteriorate because we're not a nation that's in charge anymore. We're not anything anymore. 60 years ago, sure, but not now. Yeah, so everything comes down to price, and there is no true price discovery on the S&P 500, for instance. So I have a chart up right here. This is the S&P 500. 4493, that's just the number we're at right now, very top. It always makes all-time highs, blah blah blah. Whatever everyone thinks the stock market's doing, the reality is way different than what financial advisors and everyone's perceiving. That's not reality anymore, because there was reality prior to Bitcoin, and now there's the reality after Bitcoin, because you can pull up the S&P 500 versus Bitcoin chart. I don't have it in my favorites. I could look it up, and it's just straight down. Bitcoin's outperforming the S&P 500 so drastically since inception in 2009 that if you're owning the S&P 500 and you're not owning Bitcoin, you're actually losing massive amounts of money, because Bitcoin is the money, it is the denominator now, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. And institutions are waking up to that fact, government's waking up to that fact. It's not a joke anymore. This is just the new world, the new life. It's interesting, the paradigm shift. Everything that makes Bitcoin interesting is revolving around this immutability of Bitcoin, the fact that it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered in any way, shape, or form. The code, everything, it's all intact. It's not going to get changed. It's just not possible anymore. It's decentralized. There's 20,000 plus nodes running. Just the power generated to keep this thing moving, it's been incredible. And there are 21 million total coins, and 87% of those coins have already been mined. So this project has a total market cap of somewhere around $1 trillion. Okay, so this here is Bitcoin's monthly chart. So this was the S&P 500. I'll stick with that right now. I'm sorry I tangented onto Bitcoin, but it's so much more exciting. So this is the S&P 500. If we go to this mark right here, this is the 2008 crisis, you know, before the band-aids started coming in. So this was the big shakeout before the breakout. Say it however you want, but this is where big money is what you want to be paying attention to, and there's big money in the S&P 500. So if they're going to do a shakeout, it's going to be pretty big usually. And then you pump the price as much as you can, so the shakeout can be bigger. Then you pump the price as much as you can, so the shakeout can be bigger. This is it. That's it. It really is just that stupid. That's how stupid this financial world is. Anyone can participate, but they wanted to make it complicated and make up things as long-term investments and interest and bonds, everything. It doesn't compute anymore, because the Bitcoin protocol is now inserted into the minds of men. Everyone knows, at least heard of it. But the reality is, what is the big money doing? The big money wasn't doing much except pumping and dumping with Bitcoin on its last market cycle, topping in 2017. So from 2017 to 2019, it was a bear market. Nobody paid attention to it. Nobody wanted to learn about it. Nobody I know. I wanted to talk about it all of the time. Nobody wanted to hear anything. They still don't. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You buying $5,000 worth of Bitcoin's not going to make me any richer. You buying $1 million worth of Bitcoin's not going to make me any richer. That's not why people talk about it. They talk about it because it's a lot to learn, because we're talking about something that cannot be changed, something that operates perfectly, something that is super secure, something that can be held in your own hands and no one can take it from you, something that is strictly scarce. All of these concepts weren't concepts because they didn't exist. It was easy to manipulate gold. It was easy for them to confiscate our gold and take it. It was easy for them to manipulate silver. It was easy for them to put money into a position and then flood it into the news stations and get us to buy it. All of this has been easy, and none of this has changed. But when we need more money printing to come in and keep the Ponzi going, because if you look at this chart, you're looking at a Ponzi scheme right now, because who's buying it right here? Who's buying these stocks right here? No one under the age of 30, and no one's buying these big cap stocks. Nobody's touching that under the age of 30. They're not stupid. Like, why would you? It's not your money. It's not anything in there anymore. It's just going to sit, and the rug pull will happen because it's a Ponzi scheme. So all of it is a big Ponzi scheme that is going to flow into Bitcoin. That's unfortunately, we want to complicate it and make it something it isn't, but that is what's happening, and that is what will happen. It's sickening to understand. Right here in March 2020, when the Corona dip happened, the stock market pulled back 32%. That's really all it even pulled back. Crazy. Not much. 30% doesn't sound like much when you're talking about Bitcoin can do that in a single day. But it did. It pulled back 32% and then immediately recovered up. But what's happening here, and people aren't realizing, is when this dip happens, smart money, big money, people that have been controlling this Ponzi for years, they leveraged their position. So they're making gains from this Corona dip, the bottom of it to the top here. It's almost 100% up since Corona in 2020. The stock market's almost 100% up, and it has not had a pullback over 10%. The thing that people are not understanding is the leveraging that happened here. The big money, the smart money, they leveraged their position 10x, 15x, 20x. So they didn't make 100% of their money. They made 20 times that. So they're making 2000x, whereas your money sitting in your Roth IRA only made 1x, 100x. So your money went up double, but theirs went up 20 times what yours went up, because they bet harder, they leveraged their position, they have total control of these candles. There is no free price discovery. It's complete manipulation. And that was the big shakeout. So how high will the stock market go? It's only not getting rug pulled. Mania is only not happening because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in charge now. Bitcoin's in charge of everything now. Everything will be following what Bitcoin does from now on. And this is what I believe the bottom for Bitcoin. It might go to 42, maybe. Maybe. But I'm saying there's just, I don't possibly see it going below 40,000 when you look at the amount of coins moving onto hard wallets, the amount of coins moving from the weak hands to the strong hands, because the weak hands are like, oh, I'm just over this Bitcoin thing, I'm glad to break even on it. People think it's like over, but it's not over. There's no sellers, and we have strict absolute scarcity at a 1.89% inflation rate until we get to 0%, and that's what Bitcoin will do by the year 2040, get to 0%. But the reality is we have a basically finished project sitting at a finished project of the best money mankind could ever come up with or ever see, sitting at $1 trillion, while garbage like gold is sitting at 13 trillion, and the housing markets and all these other things are clinging to Bitcoin's price rise, and they're going. The money doesn't get made necessarily on buying Bitcoin here and holding it, because the reality is I do believe Bitcoin will come back to these levels, but I don't think we're ever going to see Bitcoin under $40,000 again. 35,000 maybe for a day, but honestly I don't see it ever going below $40,000 ever again, because there's no selling, and the demand is through the roof. You can see these institutions doing huge buys. They're putting fear into the market about its volatility. They're trying to do everything they can to get you to sell them their Bitcoin at $30,000, $35,000, $40,000. That's the game right now, and that's what's happening. Is Bitcoin's creating its latest price floor. because long-term investors are buying. They're buying and they're creating the new bottom. Bitcoin's not about tops. It has no top. It's going to just continuously go up. But the bottoms are where you want to keep your eye on, and you can see that from the video I showed earlier. Right here.
Very good, sir.
So take a screenshot of that or whatever you got to do. He shows all of the charting. All of this is visible. Everything is visible for you to look at. The only thing that keeps people from looking at it is they can't get their responses because it's unknown, uncharted territories. It's reality, but we're all kind of watching it, you know, play out, and then we're reflecting on what happened that day. And every day things are happening. There's whatever. There's shit you can be watching, but Bitcoin's the thing to watch because it's in charge. It's in charge of everything because it's the thing that can't be changed. The fear that people grew comfortable with was basically just being slaves to the chaos of it all. Totally chaotic, but they created an illusion of security by setting us up with these, you know, these Social Security and Roth IRAs and all of these illusions of security. They're not secure. There's nothing secure about them. Even the banks. The banks are terrified right now because if people go for all of their money at once at the bank doesn't have it to give you because they're lenders. They lend as well. They don't have your money if everyone goes for it at one time. So where are you going to keep your money is the question, right? Where am I going to store my wealth? I have, let's make up a number, I have $1 million. It's all in the stock market, S&P 500 right now. I could just leave it in there because that's what I've been told to do my whole life. That's what my financial planner pays me 0.025% quarterly, or we pay them just to do something you could do on your own. They don't know what the hell's going to happen. They just want to get your 1% per year, and that's all they care about. Because if they get 1% of a bunch of people's entire net worth, they get to just residually get that 1%, and they get to have the illusion of security. But they're also not secure either, because none of this is secure. All of this is a giant Ponzi scheme that's already in free fall. It's already in free fall. Complete free fall. You can watch how just everything has toppled. Like nothing's flowing anymore. The supply of products coming from China, the nation's allies, like it's just none of it's, all of it's just theater, and it's bad theater, and you're not going to learn anything watching any of it. The only thing you're going to learn is that these people are all crazy. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about individuals. Why would they? You're not in their everyday life. Why would they care about you? Why do you think they care about you? They don't care about you. They go on TV and pretend to care about you because if they pull on your heartstrings, they can implant seeds for you so you don't have to think on your own. All this might sound harsh, but we've moved past the audience of everybody and probably and down to the people that just want to know what the hell's going to happen with price. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with price, because it's really not that complicated, because everything is visible, and it took me 3-4 years to get in alignment with the way reality is and the financial world is. And once you're in alignment with it, then you can watch visibly, lucidly the flow of money and what's happening, and you can trust the resources that got you here, which I don't need anymore, because all of my resources I've disposed of. I took in the information I needed to take in, I transcended it through my own emotional balance, and now I'm going to share it. And the pressure cooker is here. Like, Bitcoin itself is in the pressure cooker. This thing that has 87% of the supply already done. This thing that's proven itself against all attacks. This thing that just won't go away no matter what we do is boiling up. And it's us that's boiling up. It's the people. It's the emotional instability of the world. It's the panic of the fact that we cannot stop this thing. And why would we want to? Because it offers so much opportunity. Why do we feel a loyalty to the party? Why do we feel a loyalty to the government? Why do we feel this loyalty? Because they can't help it. They might be good people, they might be bad people. It's just people. But they can't stop Bitcoin. There's nothing they can do. So they're getting on board, they're buying the coins, they're institutionally buying these coins. You're gonna hear about it in the months to come. Amazon bought this many coins, Apple bought this many coins. These coins are working their way onto the balance sheets of these companies that aren't going anywhere. So if you're invested in companies that do not have Bitcoin on their balance sheet and you own no Bitcoin, you're going to be falling behind and falling behind and falling behind until you can mentally understand why you need to be invested in companies with Bitcoin. And it's because it's awesome. Bitcoin, money has one purpose, to be money. And Bitcoin's one purpose and sole purpose is to be money. And then everything that happens on top of that money goes from there. So the Lightning Network, which is on top of Bitcoin, we can hold our cell phones up to each other and do direct peer-to-peer, instant, in the speed you can blink, transfers of wealth in Bitcoin on the Lightning Network for less than a penny per transaction. Every business in the world is going to want this. Every country in the world is going to want this. Every person in the world is going to want this. It's better. We always move toward tech that is better. There is no argument of Bitcoin working or not working. It's done. It was done years ago. It was done in 2009 when it was invented. It's just, it doesn't matter now. There's not enough mind control. The network is too dispersed throughout the globe. Nobody's agreeing with anybody. The only stable thing is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price is the only stable thing. The thing only goes up. It only goes up. That's all it does, is go up. And that's all it's going to do, is go up, because there's nowhere to put your money now. If you put it in the stock market now, you're just buying in, into this Ponzi that you don't know when the top is. It could double from here, it probably will. It could triple from here, it probably will. But what is it doing in relationship to Bitcoin? You have to go S&P denominator Bitcoin. You have to go USD denominator Bitcoin. You have to flip the denominator from the USD to Bitcoin. If you're just happy to get extra US dollars, it's not enough. Are you getting enough extra US dollars in comparison to Bitcoin? Because that's what it must be compared to. Because you're comparing an immutable protocol that offers all these things we've never had against mutable shit, where it can be mutated. They can just change the law, they can just change the rule, they can just confiscate it. They're toying with us on how much power they have over us. We must fight for our freedom, and you do that internally in your own head, on your own time. You don't need to actively go do crazy shit in the world to convince yourself you're free. That's not freedom. Freedom is just get honest and then make some decisions, because there's consequences to the decisions. And if you make a decision to not pay attention to Bitcoin, to not understand it, then you're making a decision to to hurt the safety and security of yourself and the people around you. I am that certain of this thing that cannot be stopped. It doesn't care about heart. It doesn't care about hate. It doesn't care. It's never changing. It will never change. So your perceptions are going to swirl around this unchangeable thing called Bitcoin. It's just going to swirl and swirl and swirl around it. You're not going to know what's going on unless you allow your perceptions to swirl around Bitcoin and do not try to push your perceptions into Bitcoin, because you're just punching at dead air. You're punching at empty space. Like, the final destination is understanding the Bitcoin protocol. It's not changeable. So if there were a truth, which there must be a truth, because to say there is no truth is to say it's true there is no truth. So truth must also exist, and truth is unchangeable as well. So our perceptions, whether you're aware of it or not, have been swirling around truth your entire life. And we've been in total denial of that, even though it's been true this whole time, and we've been agreeing on the denial that truth doesn't exist, or we don't know what's true, or blah blah blah. But the reality is our perceptions, our awareness of our perceptions swirl around the truth, and our awareness of our perceptions of money swirl around the immutable protocol that is now money, Bitcoin. You can't change the truth, and you can't change Bitcoin. You have no power over either of those things. If you want to grant yourself power over other things, fool yourself on those levels, but it's very risky to fool yourself on thinking that you can outthink Bitcoin, or that you can hide from this thing, or that this thing isn't bigger than you. It's bigger than everybody. And people that are involved in it no longer care about the price. They care about you getting your money into this thing before the institutions get their money in, before just all the wealthy get their money in. Because what's going to happen is this. If this is the price floor, and there is no down from here, you know, a year into the future, 2 years into the future, this is the floor. This is the new floor. So say it goes to $300,000 and then comes back to $50,000 again. You're going to have to go through that entire time of this thing going from $50,000 to $300,000, knowing that you can't get in because you don't know when it's going to top. Or you get in and now you don't know when to sell it because you don't know when it's going to top. Nobody knows where it's going to top or when it's going to top, but we can find out where bottoms are, and that's what I did in when it hit $4,500. You could figure out the bottoms because it spends months and months there. The way it spent months and months at the 30,000 recently to the 40,000, the way it spends months and months, that is long-term investors accumulating this asset with no intentions of selling it. And you know that they have no intentions of selling it because they're moving that asset from the exchange onto hard wallets, and they have no intention of touching it because they have money elsewhere. They can play with money elsewhere and let this money sit. So everyone has a different amount of money, but you can always break the amount of money into percentages, or you can break the cash flow that you do have into percentages. You can give up an addiction and put it into Bitcoin. You can just go on swanbitcoin.com and put it in there on a time basis from your bank account. But to not get on board sounds like the scariest thing a person could do right now, because it is such a harder game to play. When Bitcoin moves up double, when Bitcoin moves up triple, it becomes such a more difficult game to play, because it's going to go under those amounts you bought it at. And you don't want that. You do not want to deal with that, because it will cause anxiety and confusion in the head when there is no confusion. It's just normal shakeouts every time. That's all it's ever going to be from here on out. And we don't know how big those shakeouts will be in the future. We don't know the narrative that will be run in the future. But what we do know is Bitcoin only has $1 trillion in it, and it's 89% done. The project's finished. It's ready. The Lightning Network is cooking. Countries are adopting. Companies are entering. Everything is positive from here on out for Bitcoin. There's no more FUD left. They can't come up with any more FUD. They were so lazy the other day to try to get people to sell that it said SEC is going to sue Coinbase with no explanation why. They just say we're going to sue if you launch this lending product on Coinbase, which is no different than a bank. And then they respond, well, what did we do wrong? The whole thing is for the headline to hit people's eyes to keep them from buying it. It's not even that they're getting people to sell it at this point. The sellers are drying up. Like, nobody's selling this thing right now. Anybody that has any clue what's going on is not selling this thing. How could you sell it here? We're looking at the monthly chart of this thing right now. From the current dip, it went 9 straight months up. When you get 9 green candles in a row like this, there's usually a 1 to 4 candle pullback, followed by more upside. We went all the way past this 9 candle with no pullback because the FOMO was that big at that time in December, January area. Because we're all inside, it's winter, and we're bored, and this is just typically how it goes. In the winter months, shit goes up. In the summer months, it sells off, and then people get back to buying. It's weird, but it does seem to play out like that. So we went all these monthly candles. We went a whole 100% past this 9 on the monthly candle without pulling back. And then, if this is an accumulation game because of the strict scarcity, because of the perfect money, if it is that, then the pullbacks need to be harsh to shake out anybody that bought during these 3 months. If you bought during these 3 months right here, you probably got shook out, or you just dealt with it and kept holding it, or you bought more because you learned more about it. But the point is, it did the 9 candles. FOMO took it up, manipulation took it up, the news took it up to do a massive shakeout, and now we're on a 1. So we're looking at like 9 more candles of upside potentially, very easily, because nobody's selling this thing anymore. And the narrative didn't even begin yet. The actual narrative of how Bitcoin's the dominant force. It can't be changed. Here's Ethereum. If you are thinking, I'm going to be smart, I'm going to buy Ethereum, I'm going to be smart, I'm going to buy Bitcoin Cash, I'm going to be smart, I'm going to buy Dogecoin, it's cheaper, I can afford it. If these are the thoughts you're having, you're so far behind in comprehending crypto and what's happening that you should not even get involved until you learn more. With Bitcoin as the denominator in everything, you will learn to move your money into crypto. But once you get into crypto and you learn that Bitcoin is the only thing that continuously outperforms all of the other things, you will move your altcoins into Bitcoin. Both things take a year or so to settle in your head. So I know lots of people are involved in altcoins, but this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So back when Bitcoin was implemented, before altcoins were a thing, it had 100% dominance, 99% dominance. And then Mr. Vitalik, dork, just coding in his basement, comes up with this idea of smart contracts on the blockchain for Ethereum. And he did it at perfect timing, right around here in 2017. Perfect timing, okay. everyone's buying this Bitcoin idea, this Bitcoin narrative. Let's come up with new ideas and new narratives, because we missed out on Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is now $17,000, $18,000, and we're all pissed off that we sold our Bitcoin at $1,000 or $200 or $1,200 or $4,000. We're all pissed off, and now it's at $20,000. What are we going to do? Well, let's take some of that money that we missed out on. I want to make up for that. That's how the human mind thinks. Let's start a scam. Let's start our own cryptocurrency, and let's promote it, and let's make money off of it. So Vitalik, one of these people, did that with Ethereum, and it's gotten completely out of control from a price standpoint. There's so much money in this garbage thing, this pump and dump piece of garbage that does nothing for anybody except cause stress and confusion and waste computing power, and it's just a bunch of babbling morons. I've been in this space for 4 years. I don't know what the fuck any of them are talking about, and they know damn well that they're full of shit. But the reality is this: these scam coins are built for one reason and one reason only, to enhance the wealth of their creators. They create the coins, they go through certain areas to make these coins pump eventually, to ride the coattails of Bitcoin, and it's gotten completely out of hand. Bitcoin is all the way down here. Let's look at this. So in 2017, Bitcoin was 96% of all crypto, and then the scams came in. One by one, these scams came in. Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, just a bunch of storylines and perceptions still rotating around this immutable protocol called Bitcoin. You can't stop it, but we're going to come up with a story and see if the story works. We're going to make these changes. We're going to make faster transactions. We're going to do this and do that. It's all bullshit. It's such bullshit. And the quicker you can realize it's bullshit, the more life you get to live, because Bitcoin gives you the freedom. This shit doesn't do shit except cause you anxiety. So Ethereum, let's just look at it, because I want this to be about price, but I want you to know why reality is unraveling the way it is. It's not my opinion. My opinions don't matter. If it was my opinion, everybody'd flush their money into Bitcoin right now. That's happening, but it can't. But these other schemes and sales pitches and all this nonsense, it's going to keep going because people are gullible. Like, they're gullible. Like, we're finding out the government's Orwellian. We're finding out everything is Orwellian. We're dealing with this in our own ways, independently. And some people have already gotten wrecked, and they understand it's all about Bitcoin. Some people are just entering the space. You're going to get wrecked. If you're buying Ethereum right now, if you're buying Bitcoin Cash right now, if you're buying Dogecoin right now, if you think that these are investments, and you're using the word investments, which means you're going to hold these piles of garbage, you're just going to lose your money, or your money's going to do nothing, and you're just going to panic that you made the wrong decision. It's just so bad. It's such a bad idea. And I'll show you why. So Ethereum, Corona dip, well, I know where the Corona dip was because I was there buying Ethereum at $90 to scalp it. So Corona dip right here. So it went from 100 bucks, we'll say 112 bucks. It's up almost 40x. 40x. You want to buy Ethereum right now, and the thing since Corona is up 40x. That means if you bought $10,000 worth of Ethereum at the Corona dip, you now have $400,000. These people are going to sell into your stupid buys. They're going to steal your money. That's what's happening. There's no... This not happening. Oh, fuck. The webcam's on. I don't even want the webcam on. I'm turning that off. Oh, wait. I can't turn it off. Okay. So hopefully you can see the price. I don't know where the webcam is. I guess it's there. So Ethereum, 40x. So you put 10 grand in, you got 100 Ethereums. A year and a half later, it's $400,000. First of all, if you bought Ethereum at $90 and you still own it, you know what you're doing. If you bought Ethereum at $1,000, $800, you kind of know what you're doing. If you're buying Ethereum now, you're an idiot. You're stupid. You're going to lose your money. Even if you bought at these lower levels, holding it is going to be a nightmare for you. Convert that crap into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin went up from the Corona dip 10x. So if you bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin at the Corona dip, you now have $100,000. But if you bought $10,000 of Ethereum at the Corona dip, you'd have $400,000, 4 times the amount. Okay, great. You did Ethereum, I did Bitcoin, you made 40 times, 30 times more money than I did. But it's not about the past, it's about projection from the past into the future. And that's what we're doing now. Ethereum blew its load. It went 40x. Bitcoin got suppressed because everything else was getting promoted. This happened in the last Bitcoin pump, and it's happening in this one. So we go to the Bitcoin dominance now. This is the Bitcoin dominance. 2017 peak. Up here at 95% dominance for Bitcoin. Scammed all the way down to 36% dominance. The scams sold off more, and Bitcoin pumped. When the scams sell off, people take their profits from the scammed money and they put it into Bitcoin. That's what's going to be happening soon. In probably 4 weeks to a month, you're going to see this. So that was this push here, 2019, and then we came back down. Bitcoin pretty much kept its dominance up here at above 50%, and then in December of last year, 2020, it peaked at 72% dominance. Bitcoin was at 72% dominance in December of 2020, and then we did 9 months. We're on month 8 right now. We're on month 8 of the scams outperforming Bitcoin. But if you look at the scams on an individual basis, you see that none of them are really outperforming Bitcoin, because some of them make it to top 10 and then they fall to top 50, and then some of them make it from top 500 to top 20 back to like top 100. The money is just rotating and the amount of scams is increasing. So because there's so many scams and there's so much desperation in these human minds, they can't see lucidly, they can't understand that Bitcoin is the only thing that anyone should be aware of, and this other garbage is garbage until we at least become Bitcoin is king. You're buying into these scams when you could be buying Bitcoin. Now that I didn't say anything that much about buying the scams back then, but I'm saying it now. Now is not the time to get involved in scams. Now is the time to get involved in Bitcoin, or wait until the next bear market plays out, which is going to be 2 or 3 years, and you're going to have to endure a lot of price movement up in Bitcoin in the next year. Bitcoin has like 6 to 9 months where it's going to pump, and people are going to be watching this thing jaw dropped, and their scams are going to be going like sideways or kind of up, and some of them down, some of them are doing really well. But like all of the scams, when the bear market comes for Bitcoin, and it's going to be a big bear market for Bitcoin because there's just a lot of people that are entering that have no clue what's going on, and I don't know, maybe the narrative will get better and better and more accurate with what reality actually is, but for right now, the narrative is everyone just wants to be sold something. Everyone wants to believe in something. Everyone wants to have hope for something. Well, Bitcoin is where that hope lies, because if you actually care about your money, you actually want to do something productive one day with that money, then you have to put it in the safest thing possible. And people that have been in the cryptocurrency game don't care what cryptocurrency they talk about anymore. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is price. What is everyone doing? What are the prices doing? So right now, everyone is just watching, essentially. That's what they do. Is when it dipped to 30,000, it was just crickets, 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 and then the thing moves to 50,000, and everyone comes back to life. But as this thing moves against you, and your perceptions move around its immutability, you can just trust the charts, because the charts are the human behavior and what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is we're now at 40% Bitcoin dominance, which means $1.7 trillion is in total scams, is in total garbage right now. That money will be flowing into Bitcoin one way or another, in a bull market, in a bear market, in a sideways market. Bitcoin will gobble up that money. The scams are going to pump. They're going to pump one last time. We don't know where they're going to top. We don't know how they're going to top. But the thing that everyone should be worried about is, if you're not invested in Bitcoin and you are invested in these scams, it can get very ugly for you, because those scams can go down or sideways as Bitcoin's going up. Those scams could absolutely rug pull any day, and all of that money could flow into Bitcoin. Like, this is a worse house of cards than anything. I mean, all of this dead money in these just dead things that do nothing except suck in energy, suck in our time, suck in everything. There's nothing to read about. These other cryptos, they don't matter. They don't do anything. It's all bullshit. And they've already pumped completely out of hand. I remember lying in bed looking at the total market cap of scam coins. It was $250 billion. And I was like, oh my god, these things are going to pump. And they're going to pump a lot. And from that exact night, they pumped 5x as Bitcoin went sideways at the top. So all of that money from December has gone up 5 times. So all the scams, 5 times the amount of money's in there. People that have been in there want out, and they want to transfer that money into Bitcoin, and they're going to do it, and they know how to do it in a way that it's going to be very, very difficult for you to know when to get out. So the fact that the altcoins still have momentum and still look good, imagine how powerful that is for Bitcoin. Bitcoin becomes the no-brainer of this operation. Bitcoin at 40% dominance over the crypto space, and countries are going to be fighting over this. Politics are going to be fighting over this. It's just such a no-brainer. I don't understand. Whatever the fear is in your head, understand that fear has to swirl around the immutability of this protocol. We can't change it. We don't matter. What we say doesn't matter. The protocol is not going to change. So whether it's greed, hate, fear, empathy, hope, it doesn't matter. All of those emotions will cause people to pour their money into the safest thing, because you can hold Bitcoin in your own hands. It's not tangible, you can't see it, but you can hold the private key in your own head, and then no one can ever get it unless they torture you and you give it to them. How else are they going to get it? We don't live in that violent of a world. We're not bad people, we're just stupid. We're pretending we're smart, and we're all very, very, very stupid. Bitcoin is so simple, and we have such a dependency to connect with other people, and such a dependency to have the illusion of control, and such a dependency on outside authority and such a dependency on government, such dependencies that we've got comfortable in our dependencies, and we don't even entertain freedom as a concept. Because moving to self-sovereign money like Bitcoin is a concept that can let you do anything you want. Because you're transferring your illusion of power and your illusion of mattering, of meaning, you're transferring that into Bitcoin. You're letting Bitcoin take care of the money problem for you. Now you have to figure out, how am I going to either help this world, how am I going to have fun in this world, how am I going to deal with freedom? Like, that's what it's going to give you. And it's going to be a totally different paradigm than the fear paradigm we're accustomed to, where if we're not pretending we're busy, if we're not pretending we're scared, if we're not pretending something matters, that the people around you will shun you for it. You don't have to. I don't care. It doesn't matter at all. The only thing I cared about is trying to get people to see what I see, because I can't not see it, because the way you can become lucid is by removing the filters of ego, the filters that keep you from seeing reality as it is. And reality as it is it's a joke. It's a bad drama that I have to turn into a comedy, because everyone is in the drama. They're just all about the drama. Like, what's your drama? What's your drama? It's nothing. We're living in very strange times, and we're having a shift in paradigms, one mind at a time. Like, it's just, we're transferring information to each other at rapid paces. Like, it's all happening so fast, but nothing's really happening unless you're in the circus. If you're not in the circus, Bitcoin's where you leave, and then you look through the looking glass at everyone just not seeing why Bitcoin's king, why it's awesome, why it's everything, why it's more than we could ever want or imagine. Take El Salvador. They put trust in the US dollar currency. It didn't work out. They have no currency. They're poor, extremely poor, willing to be productive. So now they have not only a strong currency, a currency that's going to increase in purchasing power as they produce and start their own nation and start their own world with a functional form of money instead of the dysfunction we're accustomed to. They get to actually direct peer-to-peer laws and intermediaries and all the crap. It doesn't matter anymore for them. Now they actually have to build a life, and they have to build so people can survive and people can thrive. They're not building Disney worlds, okay? They're actually trying to survive as human beings. You have to understand, it's not about U.S. citizens, Bitcoin. It's about the countries that got screwed over by this U.S. dollar system. And to deny that is just so childish and pathetic. And I find nothing I can speak with people about when it comes to that. You got to be careful when you're mixing concepts like, you're not grateful for America, or you don't care about soldiers. Like, these concepts are mixed in your own thoughts, in your own head. You can't possibly know how I think. There's no way for you to know how I think. You can only speculate how I think. I can tell you, I don't think. I don't think. There's nothing to think about, ever. There's nothing to think about. You want to know my opinion? It's funny. It's funny. It's all just funny. I don't know. It's just all very funny at this juncture. I can't take my own life seriously, and people expect me to take everyone's life seriously. You want me to take 8 billion people's lives seriously? I can't. It doesn't matter. We're all going back in the box. We all came from nothing, and we're all going back to nothing. This isn't rocket science. This life shit isn't rocket science. Everyone acts like it's rocket science. Everyone wants to act and pretend that they can't just fall into reality as it is, that they have to give their vantage point on every little detail. the new money, the new denominator is Bitcoin. It's a black hole for everything because it's so functionally perfect. Gold is garbage. Gold has been manipulated. There's no, you can't get the analytics. You can't get the analytics on gold. You can't take gold on an airplane. You can't transfer gold across the world instantly. It's garbage. It's primitive. Where's all that money in gold gonna go? Maybe they'll, maybe a big pump and dump on gold, a big pump and dump on silver. Maybe gold will ride Bitcoin's coattails. Maybe silver will ride gold's coattails. Maybe, but it's dependent on Bitcoin. The point is, the money exits into Bitcoin after the casino fiat crap plays out. All of the money then exits into Bitcoin. It's the exit valve for the real money, the real functional money. The other crap doesn't work. It's not functional. It's just dysfunction everywhere you go. The price increases on stuff. I'm paying twice as much for my shit now. If I didn't have Bitcoin, I'd be really pissed off. So I imagine, a lot of people are really pissed off. Well, if you are pissed off and you comprehend you have no real mode of retaliation, the only retaliation you have is to make the adult decision to exit the circus into the sound money of Bitcoin. So, alright, hour. I only wanted this thing to be an hour. Here we go. So we got monthly 8 months that the scams have been outperforming Bitcoin, while Bitcoin is just getting accumulated by the smart players, by the big money, by the smart money, while they're holding this little bell. So the puppy looks over here at Ethereum, holding this little bell, this little meme sticker. So they look over here at Dogecoin. Look at this sticker. Don't look at the thing that's more powerful than anything ever. Look over here at the sticker coin. Buy the sticker coin so I can sell the sticker coin to you at 80 cents. And then I can take my sticker coin money that I made and I can put it into the real money called Bitcoin. Oh yeah. Oh, they still believe in the sticker coin. Okay, well, go ahead and pump the sticker coin up to $1.20 now. Okay, now I can take my $1.20 sticker coin, because I didn't sell all my sticker coins, and I can move that into the Bitcoin now. The point is, it's all going into Bitcoin at some point. You don't know when, you don't know how. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. The scams have no functionality. They suck. They're garbage. You want to talk about fees? Just to transfer a coin on Uniswap, it's $100. To transfer it on Ethereum, and there's all these, oh, it's going to be cheaper, it's going to be cheaper, you can earn yields, you can earn percentages. Bitcoin has one meaning. That's it. Unconfiscatable. Unconfiscatable. Nobody can take it. It's mine. Ethereum, they can just take it all. They can just hack it. They can just steal it. They can just recode it. They can just rug pull it. They can do so much. They have so much power over you. These prices are just such bullshit for anything that's not Bitcoin. Such bullshit. Who cares if Ethereum goes to $15,000? Who cares if it goes to $20,000? The point is, it's going to go to nothing because it's nothing. It is nothing and it is garbage. It cannot scale. It's constantly being altered, constantly being changed. The founder himself is way in over his head. The whole thing is out of hand. The whole Ethereum narrative is built to get your Bitcoin. The whole everything. Every narrative now revolves around the immutable Bitcoin. It revolves around how can we manipulate the minds to get their Bitcoin, or get them to not even buy it, or get them to sell it to us, or get them to give it to us to get a yield. Here, I'll give you 3 Bitcoin. I'll store my Bitcoin in your safety, sir, and you can give me 6% a year. You can give me 12%. So the people that are obsessed with these yearly gains, okay, people in the stock market, they have this weird little thing in their head, I need 7 to 10% gains per year. But they're not understanding inflation just went 40%, 25%, 10%. You're still losing to inflation. Inflation is still beating you at those pathetic gains. And inflation is only increasing, and it's turning into a hyperinflation, which means those gains have no value. They don't matter anymore. Your entire 30, 40 years doesn't matter anymore. It was all for nothing because the Ponzi scheme fell and you did not exit the Ponzi scheme. Get the fuck out of the Ponzi scheme, because that's all it is. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. If they're buying it, it's only because everything is a succubus and clings to Bitcoin. And people want shit in their ears, they want shit fed into their eyes, and they don't want freedom. Whatever they want, they don't want freedom. They want just the comfortable confines that they're accustomed to. Well, if you sit in those confines, you're going to watch your money evaporate. Poof. Bitcoin is so severely undervalued. The stock markets are so severely overvalued because there's nowhere for money to go. And there's so much money in pumping and dumping stocks. Insane amounts. The flow of money, mixed with the fees, mixed with the taxation, mixed with just the punting of it all. It is a circus that you will never understand, and you don't have to. You don't have to be a part of it. You're allowed to leave it, and you should leave it. You should leave it. You should give it all of the thought that you can give it. You should understand. The only gain I can possibly have from making this video is I don't have a gain. There's nothing for me to gain in making this video. There was nothing for me to gain in writing a paper 3-4 years ago. There's nothing for me to gain in posting relentlessly on Facebook for a year and a half. What is my gain other than just backlash of just bad theater, bad ego, bitter people, greedy people, resentful people? Like, Bitcoin's optimism, but if you're not on the protocol, if you're not trying to learn about the protocol, if you're not trying to understand what's going on, it's not optimism. It's you generating hatred towards something that's great for your own egotistical gain, your own illusion of attachment. That's all that's happening. It all comes down to ego. Bitcoin's protocol will not change. The truth will not change. Your ego will change. Your perceptions will change. You will change. And if you change quicker than the people around you, those people will start to hate and resent you. But they'll come back because loyalty is something most of us have. And we always come back to each other. And it's important. So if we look at total market cap, look how quickly. You don't think there's buying pressure? You don't think there's buying happening in the crypto world? This thing went from $2.6 trillion down to $1.1 trillion, all the way back up to $2.5 trillion in a couple months. In a couple months, we've had more than $1 trillion added. After we had $1 trillion sold, it was instantly bought up. It's on a monthly one. It's at all-time highs. The total market cap is ready to pump. But you can look at all different time frames. This is a weekly time frame of the total market cap. It's on an 8. It sold off early. But it sold off because of all the liquidations from the degenerate 10x bettors, 20x bettors. So if you put in your money here at 10x like these guys do in the stock market, like these guys have been doing to steal our wealth our entire lives, if you put it in at 10x on Bitcoin, the exchange can see that. They can just come down, take your money, and buy it right back up. So now you lost all that money. They gained all that money. They can buy the Bitcoin. You can't. You screwed up. You're greedy. You tried to make money too quick. You didn't preserve your wealth in Bitcoin. Like, it's just, you can't be greedy. Bitcoin is about patience, and it doesn't even require that much patience, but we have no patience as a society. No patience whatsoever. Everybody wants to be in the casino games all of the time, every second of every day. And they're not projecting, okay, are any of these casino games rigged in a way that I can take advantage? Well, yes, Bitcoin. Why? Because it cannot be changed. So Bitcoin can't be changed. So what's the difference of me buying it or Wall Street buying it? Well, none. There's no difference at all. Okay, well, what's the difference of me buying into the S&P 500 or Wall Street buying into the S&P 500? Well, the S&P can be manipulated by politics, by television, by leveraging, by just endless ways. The stocks can be split. The stocks can increase, decrease, dilution. There's endless circus barreling bullshit when you are engaged in anything but Bitcoin. Bitcoin's true price discovery. True price discovery. There is no true price discovery on any of this other crap. It's just whistles and bells. So few percentage of people actually learned how to trade, actually learned how any of this shit works. So few people of the entire population. That leaves the entire population in this uncertainty, and I want to bring some certainty and comfort so that you can just enjoy life and you don't have to be in this circus of hell. And it is a circus of hell, and it's going to continue, and it's going to get worse, especially for people that think they can take the easy way out and not think about things. People that think they can just buy Dogecoin because their buddy bought it, or because they saw a cute picture of it, or because it got shared on Facebook. Like, this is grown-up time. You got to think like an adult. You got to behave like an adult. This is adult money. The bank's not going to take care of you. The government's not going to take care of you. You have to learn these things on your own, and you have to be part of this on your own. You have to figure out what resources you're going to get to. I will share my resources because there's so few, and they're so hard to get to. And I'm excited to share those. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm getting tired and bored because this stuff, you have to understand, bores me numb because I see it and I don't care about it anymore. And all I see is everyone else trying to see it and care about it, and it's like just history for me. It doesn't matter anymore. I have to keep an eye on it because of price. I have to keep an eye on it because of narratives. I have to keep an eye on it for those reasons. But I'm comfortable in knowing Bitcoin will not change. I'm comfortable in knowing I have a certain amount of the Bitcoins. Calculated. 21 million coins, over 5 million lost, still 1.5 million to produce. There's like 14 million, right? There's 14 million coins. There's 8 billion people. This thing's the global currency. It's winning. It's the most powerful and productive and cheapest second layer solution. It's awesome. So do the math. How much US dollars do you have to surrender to get the amount of your fair share of this protocol? That's not going to change and not going to go anywhere. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing government can do about it. And there's nothing any country or individual or group of individuals can do about it. That's the reality. But the narrative is, well, I think this could happen. I think this could happen. Oh, they could do that. The SEC wants to sue. China's getting in. China's getting out. China's saying no. China's selling miners. China's buying this. China started this coin. It's exhausting. How in the world can we continue to fall for the narratives? They're going so quick, and they're popping like soap bubbles. They're just popping instantly now. Snap pops. Snap, crackle, pop. What I'm saying is, Bitcoin is the most powerful thing. It's where all of the money's flowing for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, infinite years. It's where all the money's going. All the money's going into this thing. I'm saying the price has bottomed at $40,000 area. How can you go wrong? How can you go wrong buying this thing, putting it on a hard wallet, and just letting it do the work for you, letting you produce money, which you're having trouble producing right now? Because, I mean, are any jobs of that much value right now? No. Like, are the options there? No. Is it the world it used to be? No. Are people getting weirder and weirder? Yes. Are people getting dumber and dumber? Yes. Good. Because this pretending you're smart thing doesn't work. Nobody's smart. There is no objective knowledge we can have other than I am. We're stuck with that. We don't get anything else. That's all we get. So it's all virtual gameplay from there. It's all belief from there. And it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, that belief's cool, that belief's cool. It's another thing to be ingrained in a belief system that doesn't allow you access to freedom. And if you can't experience freedom, then you're engaged in a belief system that is just taking the freedom. Because you at one point programmed that mind to do that and have that belief system. So the gullibility, that's where the pain comes in. We shouldn't have been so gullible. We shouldn't have taken every single word at face value. Like, no. Like, you have to transcend the words, you have to transcend the money, you have to allow the understanding of just, it's all one thing, and it's all bigger than us. Let's try our best, think our deepest and our hardest. Financial advisors can't help you. People that are taking your money can't help you. They're selling a story and they're trying to take your money. I don't like scammers. I will not entertain scammers. They're salesmen. They're running sales pitches that are not up to date with current reality. And you have to think on your own. You have to do the thinking all on your own. And that means it's going to get destructive and painful. And that's just the way it is. It sucks. It hurts. And you're going through hurt and pain you can't even put into words. But you're dealing with it, and you're moving forward, and every day you get a little more clarity on what's happening. I want everyone to feel the security I'm feeling, and it's not because I bought it at $4,000 and it's at $40,000. That's not why. I felt the security of Bitcoin when I found out what's really happening here and what's going on and the potential, and I could just see the potential of this thing. You get visions on the possibility of this transfer, this wealth transfer that's happening into the digital world. Like, money's getting transferred into the digital world like everything else got transferred in. So it's very cool. Preservation of your money is what needs to be thought about, not how can I double my money quickly, how can I whatever, because the problem with doing that is, even if you do it, say you bought Dogecoin at 20 cents and you sold it at 80 cents, you bought $50,000 worth, and then you sold it all, and you got $150,000. Well, now that greed of that mindset is still in your head, and you don't know how important wealth preservation is. So now you gamble on the next sticker coin, but this time it only goes up double, and you think, well, I'm going to hold it longer, and then you wake up the next morning and it's down from your initial spot and just keeps going down. So now you're underwater in this thing that you don't know whether it's going to come back to life or not, because it's garbage. So now you lost half your money. You're down to $25,000. So now to turn that $25,000 into the $100,000 it just was not too long ago, you're going to get more greedy, and you're going to get more stupid, and you're going to make more irrational decisions. Time is on your side with Bitcoin. If you can have cash flow, if you have savings, if you can allocate a percentage of what you're comfortable with into Bitcoin, but I promise you over time you're going to be more uncomfortable with it not in Bitcoin. That's the transition that does get made, because that's the reality that is happening and undeniable. If you can take the smart steps in playing the game of patience, in understanding when all time frames align, I'm in this thing, and when all time frames align, I'm getting out of this thing. You're averaging in and you're averaging out, and you're putting that money into buying a house, buying a car, whatever, taking care of yourself. If more opportunities come with new ideas, sure, but right now it's a total shit show. Everything, the price is the price on everything, and Bitcoin is severely undervalued, and everything else is severely overvalued drastically. Bitcoin's severely undervalued drastically, and everything else is severely overvalued drastically. And ordinarily, it would pain me to say that after something went up 10x in value like Bitcoin has gone up. You have to understand it did go up from 4,000 to 40,000. That's 10 times the amount. So for me to say this 40,000 is the bottom, I'd either have to be delusional on a belief standpoint, or I'd have investigated all of the metrics and come to the conclusion that holy shit, this actually is the bottom for this thing right now. And it is so much more bullish than anyone can comprehend, because everyone isn't seeing it through a worldview. They're seeing it through their own egoic lenses. They're seeing it through, I wish I would have bought it. Oh, I can't believe I sold it. I knew I should have bought it. I had one back then. Like, this victim mentality shit will not help you. It will only hurt you, because those are ego blinders. Okay? How much money do you have now? Can you figure out where this thing's going? How are you going to go about getting it? What are you going to do next? You can plan this out, and I'm willing to help people do it. I absolutely am. I'm exhausted from watching it for the last 4 years, and just the disrespect toward it. Nobody's respecting this thing for what it is. It's a big deal if you don't have it. If you have it, it doesn't matter anymore, because you have it. If you put it into that polarized understanding, either you have it or you do not have it. If you have it, you don't care about it, because you understand it, and you get to be free from the bondage of money. You no longer have an emotional attachment to money. You have a gratitude for money, because now your money's increasing, and the people that have attachment to money in the fiat world, their money is decreasing or increasing at a slower pace. That's what people don't get. Like, my dad will have his sheet of paper that says, I got 7% gains, I got 10% gains. Okay, well, Bitcoin's getting 200% gains, compounding yearly. You're getting 10% gains, 7% gains. Nightmare in comparison. Money is flowing fast, money is flowing everywhere, people are panicked, emotions are high. I guess I will get more involved in price. I wanted to do price in this video. I'm really sorry. I guess we'll have to wait till I hurt my back again or get motivated to do it. So for the future, I think Bitcoin will be over 100,000 by the end of the year. It'll probably be, probably by the end of the year, and I believe it's going to go to the $400,000 area, maybe even higher. I really do. I think this whole thing can get extremely out of hand. people are not rational right now. People are irrational, and there's so much money to be made when people are irrational. You can make money shorting the stock market when the rug pull happens. You can prepare for the recession. If you don't think we're in a recession, you're probably not leaving your house. You're probably not mingling with a diverse group of people. You're probably doing the same loop over and over. If you aren't grasping that we're in a recession right now, then you are the opposite of conspiracy theorist, okay? To call people that are pointing out reality as it is right now conspiracy theorists isn't going to work anymore, because the cat is out of the bag, the game is on, let's go. Okay, so I'll do my resources in another video. I think I'm gonna end it here. So thank you. It is weird. This is all very weird. I don't care. I personally don't care. You should have no attachment to me, the messenger. You should understand I don't matter in any of this. I don't matter. It's a transfer of information. Once you get the information, once you transcend the information, I won't matter to you. So that's the way I want it. That's how it matters to me. I'm doing this to get it out of my own head, to get my own confidence in what I'm doing. How it hits your receiving mind today probably will not be how it will hit your receiving mind 3 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. If you go back in my videos, which I only did 1 or 2 3 years ago, it's probably going to hit your receiving mind different today than it did 3 years ago. And every receiving mind that is watching this receives it differently, because their filters of belief, their filters of perception are all different. We're all different because we have different codes of the same perceptions blended together. It's weird, but it's how it is. And let the revolution of money, whatever cliche shit you want to come up with, let it begin.